something in my code went wrong, and for like 6 hours of a day, every Blu-ray disc on every 350 customers that use this shopping cart marketplace technology, and on all 350 sites for like 6 hours, all Blu-rays became $1, and customers could validly check out, add as many Blu-rays to their cart as they wanted that were $1. Like the most expensive thing, and you have a bug where it's selling them for $1. And so that ended up costing our company money. We got like, I don't know how many orders, 1,000 orders or whatever came in for Blu-rays. And I had to patch that bug, and just the stress, so stressful, chaotic. And oh my God, you gotta fix it right fucking now. On production, people are losing money. Oh my God, the customers are freaking out. Everybody's calling us. Get this fucking shit fixed right now. Welcome back. If you're just discovering me off the algorithm, I'm Sean. Taught myself programming in the 90s, and then I was a professional developer from 2004 to today. That's 22 years, and I just thought I would make this series reflecting on the career arc trajectory, my story. It's story time, just a little storytelling, how I went through every job from the beginning to where I am today. And I'm just a dude trying to make it in the system of working a job and paying bills and taxes, and this is my story that I'm sharing. So if you work in tech, or you're thinking of going to college, or you're thinking of starting a career in tech, or you're a developer, maybe something's fun in here, or maybe you can just be here for the story and just one human to another, sharing our stories of existence, our trials and tribulations. It's a simply beautiful day. It's the summer solstice, actually. It's the longest day of the year, and it just couldn't be really better weather. So to recap the story so far briefly, I worked all kinds of minimum wage shit jobs. I returned to school after several years of that. Once I felt backed into a corner, like you had to get a degree as the only option. Went and did that while working 3 jobs to put myself through school with no financial aid to speak of. Ended up with a bunch of student loans, and I made it. 2007, graduated, and I thought, oh, I finally did it. All the years of struggle are behind me. From here on out, I can build a real career, a respectable career. At this time, the lore of the Bay Area post.com boom, kind of the app era of like when everybody was getting on Facebook for the first time and everyone was having a mobile phone for the first time, 2007, 2008. By this time I had heard stories of what it's like working at the big tech companies in the Bay Area, and by now it's cliche, like, oh, they have their own chef, and they have like everything you could eat, and they have like pool tables and exercise rooms, and everybody knows that now. But back then, when you heard those stories, that was like a radical new idea of like reimagining work. Work used to be thought of as just a stuffy office thing, like basically The Office show, the comedy series, like that depiction of work. In my day, when I was coming up, that was an office job. Whether you're a developer or anything, it's like stuffy and restrictive and no perks, and you're just in an office with a cubicle and fluorescent lights to work. And that was always the expectation of office job. And kind of, in my point of view, the Bay Area tech kind of mid-2000s was kind of the birth of this new way of looking at an office job, and like, no, these people are working really hard. An office is soul-sucking. Everyone knows that. So what can we do to make it better? What perks can we provide? So going into my tech career, once I had the computer science degree, I thought that's what was in store for me. I thought, oh, I made it. I'm on my way. I'm going to be buying my first house in probably like 3 years from now, after just like 2 years of saving. And my job's going to have benefits, and my money problems are over. And that was where my mind was at going into this. Moment I graduated, I just tried applying for months, and I interviewed at places. I would go to Portland, Oregon. Like an example of a job I interviewed for was the Portland newspaper. So like the newspaper industry hadn't 100% died yet. Like today, it's 100% dead. Magazines and newspapers and print, that's all dead. But back then, it was still a viable, thriving company, and I interviewed at the Register Guard in the is that what it's called? No, the Oregonian. the Register Guards, the Corvallis paper. I interviewed at the Oregonian, the premier Portland newspaper, and I was gonna develop basically Flash was still a thing, and I had some Flash experience developing the game I talked about in the last part of the series, and they were gonna have me developing Flash banners, like with their advertisers. I don't know, something like that, where on all the newspaper web pages, the Flash banner ads would come up. And after months of applying, no one would give me a chance, ghosted, and there was a whole bunch of misrepresentation. People would talk big and, oh, we've got a job for you. And it wasn't until they get you in there, you have to commute. Maybe I was commuting from Eugene all the way to like Portland, and until they get you in there, in the room, and you go through a whole interview, and then you find out like there is no job. And they're actually like some weird third-party like headhunter thing, and they have a company that's trying to misrepresent that they're a tech company, but it's actually a staffing agency, and no part of it was clear like what they were doing. And then if they did have a role there, it would be like the shittiest role ever. Like they just lied about everything. And I had taken a bunch of commutes, hour-and-a-half commutes to Portland to find that out, just being yanked around and exploited. And today, of course, I'm experienced in the job industry. I've been yanked around every way that you can get yanked around, and I know red flags to look for, and I would not be going into any interview unless there was some talk about compensation up front and lots of things. But at this time, it was like every trick in the book of the way that you can exploit a tech worker, I was being jerked around by. And months of just a lot of ghosting, a lot of no responses. So finally, maybe 5 months straight of applying and living in my parents' attic, which was like an unfinished place that got over 100 degrees in the summertime because there was no insulation and just on the floorboards up in this attic. Not a comfortable situation. So finally, a company gave me a chance. So I got my first job out of college, and at the time, this company was in my hometown of Eugene. They were the number 2 competitor to Amazon when it comes to marketplace sales. And what that means is where you have a shopping cart on your website, but the products that are listed on the website, they're not just the traditional e-commerce, like you have a warehouse and you list your products on your website. Marketplace means you would have a shopping cart on your website, but all the products you're browsing, they come from a whole marketplace of vendors. And it sounds unbelievable and crazy that there was a number 2 competitor to Amazon, because nowadays Amazon is just one. The whole e-commerce world is Amazon now. Amazon is everything. So it sounds crazy to think that there even was competitors, but in 2007, early 2008, it hadn't yet settled and become a clear one fight that, okay, Amazon is just clearly going to win this forever. There was a few players in the marketplace technology scene, and they would specialize. You might have marketplace music technology company to buy CDs and albums, and marketplace books. And so this was a marketplace technology company that vendors from everywhere would list. So we work with the biggest distributors, book distributors, CD distributors, and anybody. You could just open up a storefront online, and it could be like Sean's Books and Records and Sales or whatever, and you could style it however you want. And then under the hood, it was running this app that I built on this team. The shopping cart experience, the shipping estimation, the whole technology side of it would just be plug and play that the website would run on this shopping cart technology that I built with this team. The reason they were willing to give me a chance with no experience is because they were cheap as fuck. They were venture capital funded. There was venture capitalists from the Bay Area that were funding this company, and they were setting really aggressive targets like, okay, if you can do international shipping and coupon codes and shipping estimation, and if you can do these like 6 big features by Q3 of this year, we'll then fund you for another round. That's how this company worked. It was all VC funded. So it was a startup. It was a startup environment. It was my first job. And at this time, I didn't even know distinguishing between what's a startup or what's a regular company. In my mind, it's all just having a job. I'm just a worker and I just need jobs, and that was just the way I thought about everything. I had to move out of the sun, getting cooked in there. So they gave me a chance. Salary was $45,000. Entry-level salary for a legit computer science degree programmer at this time would have been about $60,000. And after 5 months of desperation and getting jerked around and just nobody willing to give me an opportunity with no specific like legit career experience on my resume, like just starting out, I just took the offer, $45K. I knew nothing about negotiating tactics or fighting for my fair value or standing up for myself. Like, I had been raised, just when it comes to teachers and grandparents and people in your life, the older generation, that everything is yes sir, no sir, and you take what's given and you prove yourself by working harder than everybody else, by always showing up on time. That's how you get your toe in the door, and once you're in there, you're then on part of the ladder and you'll be able to move up through hard work. I bought into that mentality the first few years of my career. And so first offer I got, accepted it. I had my own office. I thought it was so crazy after all that I had been through and working shitty minimum wage jobs, that now I had my own office with a door and I had my own computer with dual monitors, and it was all paid for, and I was like respected for what I did. Like the CEO would come to me in the office, he would sit in my office and walk through a feature that they needed. It was all just like, it was super fast paced. Like in the tech world, you know, it ranges from extremely formal, like formal locked in sprints, formal PRDs, like planning documents, formal estimates, formal timelines, boom, 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 rigid project reviews. It ranges from that all the way down to in the startup space, and it's still like this to this day. In the tech startup world, it can be just fast-paced, absolutely brutal. Everyone works 24/7. There's no time to write a planning spec. There's no time to do a code review. It's just go, 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 go. The investors need this feature now. Build it now. And then just like pivoting any given day. No idea what was coming your way. Just whatever was going to be the next crucial business move as a startup to secure the next round of funding and make the next biggest customer happy. And every day, just you could be just rug pulled off of whatever you thought you were working on. Any given day, just pivot. Like, no, we need the shopping cart to do this now. Like, this customer's not happy. They're gonna leave. They're our biggest paying customer, and they're gonna leave unless we get this like specific coupon code feature so that they can run like holiday coupons that expire for a given time, or they work in this specific way. And so I was in charge of, mainly the shopping cart side of the technology. So, you know, there'd be database people and server admin people and all sorts of people holding this thing together by shoelace. And what I was responsible for was the PHP programming of the shopping cart interface. So everything that you can do in a shopping cart, shipping estimates, updating in real time, hitting the postal API, UPS API, getting real-time shipping estimates, applying coupon codes, storing them in the database, deciding when a coupon's expired or not. And like every single one of these things today, there's a package pre-made that just like does this off the shelf. You just drop it into your website, set some configuration values. Maybe worst case scenario, you pay a subscription fee to another platform that does some of these things, and it's just like done. But in this day, in the Wild West, that was not the case. Everything you wanted to do, there might be a loose framework around doing some of the stuff, like front-end frameworks and kind of a back-end framework, but every single feature you went to build more or less was a custom, nuts and bolts, by scratch programming. You're literally nuts and bolts building the thing together out of nothing. If you needed a form validation system on the back end, you built it by hand. You needed that postal integration, you were doing it by hand with like outdated API requests that would return like XML and shit, like some kind of outdated SOAP requests or something. That's what we were building. So I'll just tell a little anecdote of fucking up. And like I said, I had no perspective of like what constitutes a startup mentality, what constitutes a regular office job. And so I just went to my job and tried my best, and that's all I could do. But I can see now in retrospect, like in a startup mentality, it's ruthless, it's high pace, and it's about delivering results. It's not about doing the best job possible. And if I kind of had my mindset right and understood the world more about how startups and stuff work, I think I could have performed better. But I just went in there, a confused kid in my 20s, just trying to do my best job, trying to build things, and of course, you know, not delivering fast enough, and not even building things right. Like there was no mentor to like review my code and be like, oh, the way you did this code is actually really shitty. Here's the common practice of how we actually do this. Like I would just learn when, oh, why is the website crashing, Sean? Why is the shopping cart crashing for thousands of customers in real time on production? And then I like jump in the error logs and like, oh, it's because of code I wrote in a really shitty way that's not going to stand up to the performance of like thousands of users using it at once. And so they call that trial by fire, just being thrown into it and having to learn on the job what are good ways to write code and bad ways to write code. And I just had to learn all that like on the job, trial by fire. And that went on for many, many years. So one little anecdote is Blu-ray was like a hot new technology of the time. And so a lot of these stores, they were listing CDs, Blu-rays, DVDs, books, magazines, this kind of stuff. It was a number 2 competitor to Amazon. We were creating some kind of promotion around Blu-ray at one point. We were creating some kind of code, some discount thing, and somehow, some just sick twist of fate, trying my best to just code it right, I coded something wrong, and we didn't have enough formal processes in place to like test things before they go live. We just like crossed our fingers and tried our best, and something in my code went wrong, and for like 6 hours of a day, every Blu-ray disc on every site. So there was about 350 clients, and some of them were really large. They're still big sites to this day, like Amoeba Music, and I can't even think of them now, but Newberry Comics, that's still a website that's still in business. 350 customers that use this shopping cart marketplace technology, and on all 350 sites for like 6 hours, all Blu-rays became $1, and customers could validly check out, add as many Blu-rays to their cart as they wanted that were $1. And at this time, Blu-ray is like not a thing anymore today, but at this day and age, Blu-ray was like premium, top of the market, like top dollar thing, like the most expensive thing, and you have a bug where it's selling them for $1. And so that ended up costing our company money. We got like, I don't know how many orders, 1,000 orders or whatever came in for Blu-rays, and before we discovered it, maybe a couple hundred orders, I don't know how many. And I had to patch that bug, and just the stress, so stressful, chaotic. And oh my God, you gotta fix it right fucking now. On production, people are losing money. Oh my God, the customers are freaking out. Everybody's calling us, get this fucking shit fixed right now. So there was a lot of learning done at that job, what it's like to work a high intensity coding job every single day, what it's like to show up to work day after day, full time. My dreams of striking it rich right off my first job from college or whatever, immediately that was not the case. On a $45,000 a year salary, and $400 of it a month was going to student loans to keep them off my back. At the end of the day, I had just enough left to pay rent on like a 2-bedroom little duplex and like have my girlfriend live there, and that's like what I was able to do. And there was zero money left. It was just paycheck to paycheck, just enough to afford dinner and rent and keep food going, and then I'd have completely zero at the end of every pay period. That job came to a close because we were VC funded, and we had our big VC meeting after like 8 months that everyone was looking forward to get our next round of funding. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to fund you guys. Amazon looks like they're going to win in this whole marketplace space, and we're just not going to fund anymore. So none of the investors went for another series of funding, and they had to fire almost everybody and downscale to like just a minimum crew to keep the existing customers going. And to this day, it's still a company, and they have a few customers still that run on that legacy app, but it essentially just got eaten by Amazon, and we were all just out of a job. And that's how that job went.